Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be looking at roofs. I'm going to be telling you about how to make a good looking roof and what not to do. Now I know what you're thinking. Why are you telling us how to do roofs? You do bad roofs. Well, I mean, you're not wrong. This is some roofing I did yesterday and it is awful. Like, really bad. Yeah, I admit it, I'm not very good at roofs. But here's the thing. The reason I'm not good at roofs is because I'm lazy. Let me show you what I mean. For example, over here I've made a couple of roofs in different designs. Now, this is the design I usually do. It is simple, it is easy, and it doesn't take as much time. But here's the thing. It looks horrible. Like, awful. It's always makes the roof look very different and disproportional to the actual walls and stuff. It just looks like a square and it's ugly. Now if you put in some extra time and some extra effort, then you can make something like this, which is a very simple roof, but it's still about 10 times better than the other one, despite only taking 5% longer to make. So anyone who is even slightly wanting to make a good build will build this. Now, one thing that I can say is that when you're building it, you'll normally end up with something like this. So it'll look a bit weird. All you need to do is put blocks here, and that'll make it look a lot better, so that you can have a good, concise looking build. So it's doing these little things that make the difference, and I destroyed the one up there, so I'll just grab the one from the inventory, and voila, and it looks 10 times better. So if you got 5% more time to go when you're not struggling for time, like if you're not in a time challenge or whatever, you don't need to be struggling for time to have to resort to that. 5% more time is all it takes to do something like this. All you have to do is, put effort. And this is the last one I did. Now this one is took quite a bit longer. It's sort of an arched roof, and honestly it's one of the better roofs I've done because, like I said, I'm not good at roofs. I'm really bad at roofs. But I'm actually quite happy with this one. It's got a kind of cool design where it arches down in the middle and goes up steep, and I don't know what this is, but it's kind of cool. I actually used it to build a small house over here. I kind of changed it a little bit, and the house itself doesn't look that good, but I think the roof on it looks really nice, so I'm pretty happy with that. But yeah, so from my experience with building roofs, most of which are bad, I can tell you something that is really important to know. If you are a newbie, if you aren't good at making roofs, whatever, there's one thing that you can do that will make your roofs way better, and it's actually really simple. All you have to do is invest time. Yeah, that easy. If you put in enough time, if you're willing to tear down a roof, rebuild it, try things that may or may not work, eventually you'll be able to make a decent looking roof. But one other thing that's probably even more important than time is planning. For example, I didn't plan these roofs, so I didn't really have much to work on with these. Because of the nature of how this build was made, the roofs are uneven, they look ugly, and they just don't fit in properly. So it's not very good. But if you go over to this one, you can see that the roof works, and that's mostly because I started with the roof and then I built everything down from that, which is why this part isn't as good. But that's again because I'm lazy. But if you plan beforehand, you can make a pretty decent roof. Now I'm going to show you a few other example of roofs I've done. For example, this one's a pretty alright roof. I was using it to make a temple. I kind of gave up on it, but the roof itself looks decentish. Not so sure about this part down here, but whatever. And this part over here, this roof, I actually used a similar technique as that one on this one, but because it's a circle, it looks a lot better and doesn't look as dead. I also put walls at the top. And over here is some more examples of some roof failures. This one I didn't plan, so it just looks bad. That's why planning is important. And this one, once I started on it, it looked awful, but I wasn't willing to, I didn't want to restart it. I didn't want to try and rebuild it. So it just keeps being awful. And that's why you need to be willing to put in both time and planning. And one other decentish roof is up here. It's also a flat roof, but this is one I see a lot with simple cottages and stuff. By doing this, you can make a cute little flat roof. Now one last thing to tell you is that when you have a roof, you normally make it out of stairs. Now that's not always the case, but the standard roof is made out of stairs because they give a sort of a slope look to it. But stairs are tricky. You can place them wrong, and when it's in mid-air, it's hard to get them to face the right way sometimes. So my trick when it comes to stairs is to use a debug stick to get them into how you want. For example, by changing it to half, I can turn it upside down so that I have a, well, I don't know why you would want this sort of design, but there you can get that sort of design. If you have things like this, you can change it to shape and make this sort of a design. It's a bit finicky, and it's not always apparent what you might want to do, but it allows you to have more freedom in how you want your roofs to look, and it also allows you to fix things easily despite how they might be. So if you are working on a roof, I would really recommend trying a debug stick to help you with the thingies. For example, I used a debug stick to turn these upside down so I didn't have to worry about all that. I used them to get those into the right place. And I also used a debug stick for the ends here because that allowed me to square them off like that without much hassle. So as I was saying, debug sticks can be very helpful. And another use for debug sticks, I know this is a bit off topic, but it comes with iron trapdoors. Now, one of the problems with iron trapdoors is that when you place them down, they're open, you can't use them for window sills and all that. Not that you would want to half the time, but by using a debug stick, you can close them and keep them closed without having to use redstone, which is really handy for builds, because having redstone activators everywhere to keep the trapdoors closed is just annoying. So this just makes it a lot easier. But sorry for that tangent, and just want to say thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it. If you disliked the video, dislike it. If you hated the video, tell me why, and I will try to not cry about it. Anyway, thank you. Goodbye.